Hello everybody, I'm Rusty. I want to welcome you to Island Breeze Tropicals. So today we're going to learn how to install bromeliads on a piece of wood so that you can hang them. So you know what? The sun is shining, the island breeze is blowing. It's time that you and I got growing. Come on, let's have some fun and let's put bromeliads on a hanger. So just last week we had an episode of the plant vlog where I showed you many bromeliads, and I also showed you them mounted on a piece of wood like this. Well, today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make your own using mini bromeliads like this and your own hanging wood. All right, why don't we start with exactly what we want to attach our bromeliads to. Now I'm going to bring this up here and I'm going to give you a close-up of it later, but this is a piece of wood called mopani. Mopani comes from Africa. It is extremely rot resistant. It's very, very dense. It is sold in the aquarium trade because it will not float. It does sink. You might want to look for that there. And as you can see, it is on a piece of wire to hang it. This is a fairly stiff gauge. So when it comes to wood, you want to make sure that the wood that you have will not rot very quickly. Remember, you're going to be watering plants on this when you get it all installed. But it depends on where you are. So you're going to have to source out your own wood. Local hardwoods, wherever you are, may work, but remember, again, you want to make sure that they're going to be rot resistant. You can go out and find mopani. You can probably buy it online. Now, it's a heavy wood, so your shipping may end up costing as much as the wood does. But anyway, all you have to do is drill a hole in it and then run some pretty stiff wire. Even though this isn't that heavy, you do want to make it so that the wire will hold it and not bend or break. So you've chosen your wood. Now you have to have a plant. So this is another mini, and we showed you minis last week. If you haven't seen that episode, I encourage you to go take a look at it. Minis will work on small pieces of wood. Now, as you can see, there is still some potting mix and roots on the bottom. We're going to have to clean that up. I'm going to show you what it looks like in close-up. Now, they don't have to be in pots either. So you can take bromeliads that you have that are growing in clumps like this. You can see that these are stoloniferous. Stolon is the stem that the pup comes out on. And you can cut these and you won't have to wash them off because you can cut each individual plant or plants off, and you can use these as well. And I'm going to show you a close-up in just a minute. Okay, so part of the fun in this is going to be in choosing the piece of wood that we're going to use. Now, as you can see, this piece has an L shape to it, and that's going to make it really easy to install our mini bromeliad on there. So I think that choosing the wood is part of the fun, and again, it's got to be rot resistant. This is African mopani wood, and you can you can source that out probably online. Now, what you're going to do when you get your wood, and I'm not going to do that here with tools today, but you need to drill a hole in the top of it. And that's something else that you can play with, because you want to see if you can get it to hang in a way that the plant will be able to sit upright. And as you can see, it's a fairly simplified process. You just loop your wire through there, and this is a fairly heavy gauge wire. You don't want wire that's going to be real flimsy, because you want this. Let me bring this down here. You can see the hook in there. You want that hook to stay fairly uniform, because the wood is going to weigh something and the plant on it is going to add some extra weight, and then you water it. So you want this to be pretty stout. And if you take a look, that's a fairly heavy gauge wire. Okay, so as you can see, this is our candidate for installing on the Mopani wood. But take a look. We've got to do some cleanup here. There's still a lot of potting mix that is attached to this root system. So we're going to go wash it off, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we went off camera and made one heck of a mess someplace else. And as you can see, this is all now nice and clean. Now I'm going to leave these roots on here. I think it will help give this plant a head start and also give us some more places maybe that we can install this onto the wood. We do want some roots if they're there, but you can also trim some of these off and leaving some of them, and it still will attach. Okay, so our bromeliad is all cleaned off, and we want to orient this onto the wood in such a way that it follows the curvature of the wood. It needs to be straight up and down. Remember, you need water in the cup, because remember, there's not going to be a root system to compensate, so this plant is going to have to be watered only in the cup. Now, it's pretty simple to tie this on, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to use zip ties, and we're going to see if I can do this and get my ugly hands out of the way so you can see exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so I've got two different sizes of zip ties, and this is something that you can play with. Use what you have on hand, and as you can see, they are different lengths as well. One is shorter than the other, and one is a little thicker, a little wider than the other one. I'm going to use this one right here because I'm fairly certain that this is going to go around the circumference of the wood, and we won't have to join them together. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize this stolon and the pup that is right there, and also this stolon as attachment points on our wood. And I apologize, I'm trying to do this as usual, reaching around the camera, and as you can see, this is where I'm going to attach it, and see where the wood is, and look at the stolon. And then down here you can see that we have roots that we're going to tie on with more zip ties. Okay, so I haven't practiced this. Maybe I should have. And I'm going to be taking the zip tie and I'm going to be wrapping it around the wood like that. And we're going to bring it up. So we're going to wrap it around. I'm going to bring it up, get that in there, and then what I'm going to do is put the zip tie together. Hopefully have it in camera. I'm going to put the zip tie together, and then gently we're going to tighten that, but we're not going to tighten it all the way because I want some more zip ties on there, and then after we get all the zip ties on and we have this positioned where we want it, then we will tighten them all up. So why don't we do that? So it's always fun to get as many points of attachment as you can. I've got another zip tie that I'm bringing up here, and we'll get this one in position. Again, remember, it's going to be hanging, so we want everything to be as upright as we can get it. And we're going to get another zip tie, and we're going to take down here where these hanging roots are. And now we have 3 points of attachment on here. And so now all that's left to do is to gently snug the zip ties. Just like that. And as you can see, we've got those points of attachment on there. And then what we're going to do is try to keep this in frame as usual. We're going to cut the ends of our zip ties. At least we're going to try. So what we're going to do is tidy this up and cut the ends of our zip ties, just like that. And we have a bromeliad installed on this piece of mopane. Okay, so as you can see, we have these zip ties here. We've got 3 of them. But there's another step in the process that I'm not going to do today because the plant has not attached to the wood yet. So months down the line, when it does, what you will do is you will take monofilament line, this is fishing twine, and then to make sure that nothing knocks the plant off after it's rooted, you're going to take this fishing line and wrap around the plant near where the zip ties are, and then you can take the zip ties off and the monofilament line will not be as visible as the black zip ties. Now I have painted my zip ties to match the wood. You can get some matte finish spray paint. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can spray them like a tan color, and that will help match the wood. You can do anything that you want to improve the aesthetics of it, and the plant will be just fine. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a potted mini in order to put it on the wood. I'm reaching around the camera here, and as you can see, this grows out on stolons. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to show you exactly where. Now take a look. Here is the base of the plant. Here is the stolon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it way back there because I want the stolon to be long so that we can mount that on the wood. This makes it a lot easier to tie this to the wood. As you can see, we've got some root system here. And with this long stolon that we left on this plant, that's going to make it really easy to put on a piece of wood. Okay, so this is the mini bromeliad. This is a Neoregelia, by the way. And as you can see, this is the one that we just cut, that long stolon. So what you would do is you would align that stolon and align it along this axis of the wood. Now here's another tip. You can also make it so that the rosette is up against the wood, and that will give it something to lean upon. And I'm going to zip tie this guy and show you. It's pretty straightforward, and right here is where the roots are going to come out of and attach onto the wood. Okay, so the same process holds for this as the one that I just showed you. And I'm going to put a couple of zip ties on this, and again, just snug it until you get it to where you want it to be, and just kind of slip the zip tie in here. Now you don't want to go around the meristem of the plant because that is pretty tender, and then you just put it around like that. Now you can see that. I'm going to put a third one on there. Take the zip tie out. We're going to take number 3 and put on here. And as you can see, now we have 3 points of attachment, and we're going to clip these guys off now that I've tightened them. Snug them. Okay, don't give them a huge tug, and then we'll cut these like that, and you're done. And as you can see, now this is going to be hanging, and this will do exactly the same thing as the bromeliad with roots. It will take it a little while longer. Remember, these are small bromeliads, so they have smaller roots, and it will take them a little bit longer. And you may have to do some reattaching in the future, but as you can see, this is attached quite nicely. So this is a close-up of an established clump that I have on a piece of driftwood. And as you can see, I really had this hanging in the shade house, so it wasn't particularly decorative. And we can clean this up just like this. But what I really want to show you is not the ugly zip ties, but I want to show you that the roots have attached and grown onto the piece of wood. Now look, that's the cool thing about this, that the bromeliads, because they are epiphytic, will grow like this on any piece of wood or a tree, just like they would grow on a tree in nature. And as you can see, those roots have colonized this piece of wood quite nicely. You can see that the roots come out of the meristem and then they attach to the wood. So okay guys, that's it. I hope you had fun. I certainly did. As you can see, this is just such a wonderful way to grow some bromeliads. And if you do not live in a frost-free zone, remember you can hang this outside given the right light. Make sure it gets plenty of water when it needs it, and then you can take it inside with you during the winter. So no matter where you are, I hope your sun is shining. I hope you have an island breeze blowing. I know that you need to keep growing, have lots of fun. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.